It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook. By the year 2020, Google says, which is a little bit scary, that's next year, they say that 90% of all content consumption will be through video. That's a pretty significant percentage, and they have access to data that may actually show that they are right. Obviously, they own YouTube, and now LinkedIn is on the video train, Facebook Watch, Instagram Video, IGTV. I mean, video is here to stay, and whether you believe the 90% number or not is actually going to happen, we can all agree likely that a large amount of the percentage is going to be video consumption. So it's really important that we understand how to create videos, and not just videos that are often one-off answers to certain questions and things like that, but videos that can actually gain a following, build a community, help us in our business. And today I'm very, very thankful to invite our good friend Tim Schmoyer here on the podcast. He owns a YouTube channel called Video Creators, and he has helped some of the biggest brands and is now focusing on helping creators just like us with mastering and just getting better and fine-tuning our YouTube strategies, which pertains to all kinds of videos, actually. So I'm really excited because even in this conversation, you're going to hear Tim offer me some suggestions for my own YouTube channel, and you'll hear a little bit of the struggles that I'm having so that you can actually get ahead of me and do better and get a little bit more ground more quickly than I did on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for 9 years, and it's only now that I'm finally learning really how it works, and you can get that education today in this episode with our good friend Tim Schmoyer. So sit back, relax, play the intro.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. A random goal he has is to create his own font one day. Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at Framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's Framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Hiring shouldn't be a hassle or a drain on your budget. Upwork is your one-stop shop to find, hire, and pay top freelance talent, saving you time and keeping costs in check all in one place. Companies at every stage turn to Upwork to get things done and find more flexibility in the way that they staff key projects and initiatives by assessing a global marketplace filled with top talent in IT, web development, AI, design, administration support, marketing, and more. And I've personally used them myself and can vouch for them. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com. Go there now. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Pat Flynn, here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. And you're listening to session 368. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do that because we have a lot of great episodes just like this one. And again, you're going to hear Tim Schmoyer, who has been very instrumental in my YouTube journey over the last year. Him and Roberto Blake, Sonny Leonarduzzi, Sean Cannell. Who else we got? We got Amy Landino and Daryl Eves and several people who have been on the podcast before, actually. Thomas Frank. Several people have had an impact on me and my YouTube growth over the past year, gaining over 100,000 subscribers in a year. And we're here to shortcut that for you today. And we're going to listen in on Tim and some of his strategies and also how he has a family of 7 children, yet is still able to manage a business and help a load of people make a bigger impact in the world. So here we go. Tim Schmoyer from Video Creators. Tim, welcome to the SPI podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked for you to be here because I wanted to make sure everybody knows who you are because you've done so much for me and helping me on a YouTube channel. I know I don't tell you this enough, and I've told you a few times, but you and a few others have been instrumental in just helping me understand this world of YouTube and video. And so I just wanted to publicly thank you for that before we get started here.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Yeah, I love serving people who have a message that they want to spread that reaches people and changes their lives. And I know that your message certainly does that. So that's an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, and I recognize that. That's your tagline that you say at the beginning of all your videos. And I'd love
I've said that a few times.
A few times, yes. And currently you have your main channel, youtube.com/video creators. How many videos would you say have you recorded and posted on YouTube thus far in your career?
Oh, so far, it's probably getting close to 4,000, I think.
That's ridiculous. And so tell me about the start. When, I want to know your first video and what encouraged you to post it up there.
Yeah, I was actually in graduate school. I just moved across the country, and I started dating this girl, and have a way to introduce her to my family across the country. And this little site called YouTube had just started, and I was like, oh, this might be like a good idea. Maybe we could just make some videos. I can introduce her to my family back home, and so we did. We started just making little videos. This was back in 2006. We just go out on dates, go out to the park, go out to the movies, go out to dinner, whatever. And this little 8mm camera that ate my tape half the time. So whether or not we'd even actually get a video from it was debatable, but we'd post those on YouTube. And and I just emailed the links to my parents and family and friends because it was easier than sending them like a QuickTime video file that was hard to transfer,
Right.
So we started posting those, and after a little bit of time, like other people just started watching, and I was just like, where are these people coming from? Like, it was like MySpace days where you didn't use your real name on the internet. And if anyone knew who you were on the internet, they would hunt you down and kill you for some reason. And so I was hearing all these horror stories about people meeting from other people online, and, it was terrible. So I was kind of concerned when I saw other people were watching, other people were commenting, people kept coming back and watching more. And I was like, who is CatLicker69? And should I be concerned that like this person keeps coming back and watching my videos and commenting? And so that kind of started me down a rabbit trail trying to figure out how are people finding my videos? Why are they watching them? Why do they keep coming back? What are they looking for? And how do we help other people who, like, at that time, some people actually wanted that. And so I reached out to some friends of mine. This is like 2007 and 8 at this time. And they're like, Tim, we don't know, but if you figure it out, let us know, because people are asking us how this thing's working all the time. And at that time, those were people who had kind of substantial audiences with like a few hundred people, So it wasn't long where I was like, okay, well, I think I can actually maybe help answer some of these questions for people. So I started posting some videos, just helping people with that. And then, make a long story short, it wasn't too much longer after that a lot of agencies were like, hey, our brands are asking us to help them with YouTube strategy. And so before I knew it, I was doing YouTube strategy for Disney, Warner Brothers. I did the Batman release for Warner Brothers. It was HBO, Century 21, eBay, Budweiser, like all these brands.
Wow.
And they were all having like tremendous success with it. And I was like, okay, like I'm onto something here. And it was 2013. I started Video Creators, which is my current business. And in the past several years, it's grown into a full team of 10 of us. And so far, our clients have earned organically with us over 14 billion views and 61 million subscribers. And we've seen channels go from 0 to 16 million views a month in only 6 months. Other people like hundreds of thousands of subs in less than a year. And it's just been really exciting to see how much life change is happening as a result of what we've been able to do with people on YouTube. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's so cool. And that's amazing. And do you still currently work with larger brands like that, or are you more focused on the sort of individual creators at this point?
I have those opportunities, but I've turned them down just for the past few years just because they're so slow. And that really, like, I don't really like that. It's just really frustrating when you have one meeting and then you got to wait another 3 months for, them to have another meeting. And then when you do actually the work, it's like another 6 months before they have a team in place to implement it. And it got a little frustrating for me personally.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah, it was a lot of fun, though, at the time.
Well, your YouTube channel now is one of the most helpful out there to help us with YouTube. And with some of these numbers that you're sharing about people who go from 0 to 16 million views and 0 to hundreds of thousands of subscribers in months, is that kind of growth still possible today? And because you got in early and the people you helped them early, but is that still possible today to do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like one of our clients just been working with us for about 6 months and just passed 1 million subscribers last week. We've had someone late last fall that we were working with went from, I think they started with about 400 subscribers and they passed 100,000 subscribers around 9 months later. So yeah, growth is still absolutely possible. If anything, it actually might be easier in some way. I know there's a lot more competition, but there's also a lot more eyeballs on there, and people are watching videos for longer. They're consuming more on YouTube than even television and network television. So it's like there's a lot more opportunity there as well. The hard part is just kind of cutting through the noise. But once you cut through the noise with good value and clear branding and all that, it's totally possible.
So if somebody's listening to this right now and they're getting amped up about getting on YouTube and actually getting started, what would be the primary things that they need to consider before even diving into this space in order to maximize their acceleration to, loads of people who are watching, which could obviously help them share their message and make an impact, which is, to me, always the most important thing. And I love that you share that at the beginning of all of your video creator videos, because that's really why we should be doing what we're doing. Because, for me, I teach serving first and helping others, and as a byproduct, you can make money. And I would imagine that it's largely the same with you. You create great things, and as a byproduct, you will grow, you will get subscribers. But tactically, what should a new person getting onto YouTube think about to maximize their success?
Yeah. So back when I was working a full-time job as a youth and family worker, and I loved it because I was like reaching people, changing their lives. I love working with teenagers and their family, working about maybe like 180 students a week or something at that time. And I loved it because I loved seeing the relationships between parents and teenagers restored, and those things were just kind of growing and building. It was really exciting for me. I just loved it. And at that time, my wife and I married my girlfriend, by the way. And so we got married, and we just kind of kept going with our videos through our engagement and wedding and honeymoon and first real job and first house and like all that kind of stuff. And at that time, I had a decision to make, because we're getting like 1 million people a month were watching our family. And I was working with like 180 students a week in my real job. But on YouTube, it was like the same stories of life change were coming out of what we were doing. People were saying like, hey, you don't know me, but I've been watching your videos, and I just got married 2 months ago, and my husband and I are already struggling in our relationship. I don't know if we're going to make it. But I watched your video where you and your wife were talking about how you're learning to love each other better. And I shared that video with my husband. We sat down, we talked about it, and I just want to let you know that we have hope again for our marriage. Just thank you so much for making that video.
Wow. Somebody you didn't know
what?
said that.
No, yeah. And then people coming up to us like that we didn't know, just like, hey, I recognize you from YouTube. And one girl was like, I've noticed that since I started watching you guys, I've really changed my standard for the types of guys that I date and will one day marry. And just like, thank you for changing that in my life. I'm like, we did that? Like, how did we do that? There's people who didn't commit suicide because of videos we've done. There's, like one lady also was like, I didn't grow up with a mom. She left my family when I was a young girl. But I'm getting married next month, and I feel like because I've been watching your videos, I know, or at least have an idea of what it takes to be a good wife and a good mom one day. Just thank you for all you've done. I'm
wow.
like, my gosh, So it's like those types of stories. I'm like, you can literally reach people and impact their lives on YouTube at scale, And so that one, I had to make this choice. Like, am I going to keep going down this youth and family work path or the YouTube path? And I'm like, well, if I'm ultimately about reaching people and changing their lives, like I have to take the YouTube path. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, what if I could not just reach my 1 million people a month, but what if I could help other people reach their 1 million and their 10 million and their, whatever, now 14 billion people in reaching and impacting their lives? And could I help other people make the world a better place rather than just being about like, yeah, I might have one or two good ideas that might be helpful. Yeah. But Pat Flynn and all these other guys, like they have all these other ideas that could help people too. So that's what really got me excited about the tagline. In terms of growth, I think that it's actually a lot of the principles are pretty similar to what grows a business. The place a lot of people start when they come to YouTube, which is not where I start actually, is they jump pretty quickly to doing keyword research, to like analyzing tags and metadata. And I understand where that approach is coming from. A lot of it's left over from old school Google SEO days and things like that. Yeah. But YouTube doesn't really work like that as much anymore. I mean, YouTube still asks for that information, so it's still important to give it to them. But their search and discovery systems are all designed around looking at what people are responding well to and then surfacing that content to more people. And so ultimately, like being discovered on YouTube is more about the viewer signals that your videos help people give to YouTube, and less about did you properly get all the right words in the right places and click the right buttons and check the right boxes. Mm-hmm. And so we start in the very basics of like, one, who's your target audience? Like, who are we going after here? Who's your most ideal subscriber? Who's the most ideal viewer for your channel, for your content, for your videos? And then number 2, what's the value proposition of your channel / brand to those people? Why do they care? Why would they watch? And so knowing exactly who you're going after and why they should care, and then third, being able to clearly communicate that to that first time viewer. So as soon as they find one of your videos for the very first time, the bounce rate is really low. They're like, oh my gosh, like, where have you been all my life? Like, this is exactly what I need. Subscribe, watching every video, commenting, engaging. And if the brand messaging is just unclear, or at least confusing in any way, like, it's really hard to get people to interact and engage and to start getting momentum in the first place. So we usually start at those pretty foundational places when we start working with people, and then kind of go from there.
All right, let me play a role really quick. But Tim, target market, I want everybody to watch my videos, and I think my stuff is good enough to help everybody who's doing this kind of thing too. How would you respond to somebody who, wants to target everybody on YouTube, because everybody is on YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, you can try it, but like, let me know how it goes. I mean, I don't say this. Hopefully, it doesn't sound cocky or anything, but it's really hard to get momentum with a broad audience on YouTube right now. Now you can make it broader as you gain momentum, but it's hard today to start with, I want everyone to watch my videos. Like, well, okay, maybe we'll get there. But in the meantime, like, we have to gain momentum with someone. And the way you gain momentum with someone is making them feel like, like, this channel's for me. Like, this is exactly what I need. I need to watch everything that you do. I need to subscribe. I need to follow. Right? And it's really hard to make someone feel that way if you're just kind of making broad general content for a broad general audience. Like, you need to get some momentum going first. The other thing that's difficult about that from a discoverability standpoint is that yes, YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet, and it definitely has that component built in. There's a lot of value there, but from an average view duration perspective, arguably one of the more valuable traffic sources would be like the suggested videos, or definitely getting to the homepage. And one of the ways that you get YouTube to start suggesting your content to people and putting your videos right on the homepage so people don't even have to go search for it is by helping YouTube feel confident, like, we know who this video is for. If we surface this video to this type of person, and this person like engages with it, and then they love the channel, and it's really powerful when you can just leverage YouTube to put your videos in front of the right people for you, right? Like, they're not even looking for it, but they see the title and the thumbnail, and they're like, oh yeah, what is this? And they're intrigued. They click due to no other merit than what the title and the thumbnail pitched, and they get into the content. They get introduced to you and the brand, and the brand clearly communicates who they're for, what they're all about, and then gets that person to be a subscriber and watch additional content after that. When Google starts picking up on those signals and they start feeling confident, like, this type of person will engage with this type of video, they'll just start putting your videos in front of the right people. But if the content's like really broad, and like, Google's going to be like, I don't really know who this is for. No one's really engaging with it specifically. And so the video will just kind of get buried pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I struggle, Tim. I have a large number of videos on my channel, like 400 videos, but they span across all different things. I have some really popular videos about podcasting specifically, and I rank really high for a lot of podcasting related terms. But then I can imagine somebody going there and finding my podcast content, and then kind of going into the rest of my channel and seeing stuff about blogging, and my family stuff, and some of the vlogging things that I do, the Switch Pod related things, and all that kind of stuff. And they're just like, oh, well, I got my answer. I'm done. Like, I can move on now. Versus, this is where I get sort of sometimes jealous of like those channels similar to the ones that you've started with your wife, where it's just like, it's your family and people are there because they love you for who you are. And that's the kind of feeling I get from people who listen to my podcast. But I don't yet have that kind of subscribership and fan base, I would say, generally on YouTube, where a person knows every video is going to be, some hard-hitting thing that they're used to, or just something that they can expect. I feel like every video that I produce is sort of just random right now, and so the reason I'm sharing this and asking you questions is not just for me, but because I don't want other people to have to go through 9 years of YouTube to discover like their path, like me.
Right. Yeah.
At the start, when it comes to creating these videos, not going for search terms, but going for target market and truly creating videos about things that they would be interested in watching and sharing and hopefully trigger those algorithms. Do you have any strategies for how to determine what those videos are? So you have this target market. How do you know what videos are going to resonate versus which ones don't?
That's really common. That's, you are certainly not unique in that situation, that problem. So the way I would start by looking at it is, first of all, on like an educational versus entertainment level. So YouTube, I mean, we can roughly break almost all channels and content in general probably into entertainment and educational. So entertainment type of channels like the family vlogs and the gaming and the personality based channels and stuff, they not always, but I'm talking very generally here, will have higher return viewership from their subscriber base because people are coming back for a different value, as opposed to someone who subscribes for an educational one like yours and my channel. Even people subscribe because they want to know something and learn something, and they're like, oh, Pat did a great job talking about how to start a podcast. This is great. Subscribe. But then the next video is, like maybe it's still about podcasting, even maybe it seems about the same topic, but it's like how to convert your wave into MP3 or whatever. And they're like, oh, I already know how to do that. And so they don't feel like they need to watch. Right. And so it's common, it's normal, very, again, broadly, generally speaking, for educational channels and entertainment channels to perform differently in terms of stats and metrics and things like that. However, there is something that's in common, I think, between both of them. So like the value proposition for an entertainment channel like that is typically revolves around a relational value or a community value, whereas the educational channel will revolve more around like, I want to learn something, you're going to help me progress, help me reach a goal that I have, something like that. And so when it comes to like, how do we position maybe an educational channel like yours and mine to maybe perform a little bit more like an entertainment channel, it's like, how do we take some of the things that are working on the entertainment side and bring them over to the educational side, such as like the community and the relational aspect. Now, one of the things that there's a whole bunch of stuff, and this would probably be a whole other conversation, but I'll try to make it quick, which is like, how do you set up your brand for people to create an emotional connection with you in the first place? Have you heard of a book called Primal Branding by a guy named Patrick Hanlon by any chance?
I've heard of that book. I have not picked it up yet.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It's something that we work through with all of our clients. And what he does in that book, he just looks at all the top brands that have developed cult-like followings, and he's just like, what made it possible and easy for this brand to develop this type of this following? What made it easy for people to fall in love with them? And he breaks it down to 7 aspects of the Primal Code. And the channels that are just killing it on YouTube, they've got like at least 5, usually 6. If they have all 7. Just humming on all cylinders, like their channels are blowing up. They're growing like crazy. And some of those things that I think are particularly applicable to an educational channel would be things like knowing your story, right? Like we kind of talked about mine here. I think everyone who listens to you knows part of your story. It's a very iconic story. It represents a lot about you and the brand and gives people a framework, gives them a context for understanding who you are, what you're all about. And that starts to build an emotional connection. The biggest thing, though, is, and this is where a lot of brands I think go wrong, especially with social media, is actually making the brand not revolve around what you do, but making it revolve more around a belief, or in primal branding it's called a creed. It's like your why. Why do you do this? Right? So if you just say like, hey, subscribe to my channel because I'm going to teach you how to grow a podcast, then that will, some people will be like, okay, do I want that value or not? But if it's like, I'm going to teach you how to do a podcast so that you can reach people and change their lives, now you're getting more specific. You're potentially eliminating a lot more competition of other channels who might be teaching people how to podcast. And you're also like helping people form a much deeper emotional connection with you, because the strongest communities, online and offline, this isn't like a social media thing, like the strongest communities, they don't actually revolve around common interests. They always revolve around shared beliefs. And so if someone's like, I know what he's doing and I know why he does it, and I share that belief, it's like, like they are much more likely to become an engaged part of your community. And so I think that if your brand revolves around a belief and you pitch to people like, hey, subscribe because, and then you have like a belief instead of a what, then you really have maximum flexibility on one channel to do almost any style. Like instead of pitching like, hey, subscribe to my channel because I do daily vlogs, or subscribe because I play video games, or because I do whatever. It's like, yeah, you and a lot of other people, right? But when that why is there, like for me on my channel, it's, subscribe because I'm going to teach you how to master YouTube so you can reach people and change their lives. Most people don't actually believe that with me. Most people are like, master YouTube, make more money, or master YouTube, feel more popular, or master to whatever, right? And so if my goal was to grow the largest like YouTube educational channel out there, I would go more that direction. But that's not really who I am as much. So it's like master YouTube, reach people and change their lives. So I end up attracting those types of people. I end up working more with those types of clients. But it also gives me maximum flexibility, because now I don't have to just sit down and teach YouTube all the time. I can talk about a wide variety of things as long as it comes back to reaching people and changing their lives on YouTube, because that's what people signed up for. And so I can do vlogs. I could even do a gaming video if it still delivered that value proposition.
Yeah.
I could do skit comedy, and actually have like a full reality show type of series coming up on my channel later this year that we're producing. That is a really big project, but it's gonna be unlike anything I've ever seen, really. And I think it'll still work. If people won't be shocked and be like, oh, what is this now? Because it's still directly aligned with the belief that I've always told people, like, this is what you should subscribe for. So does all that make sense? I think it's kind of rambled.
It does make sense. And the truth is that's not new information for me. However, I still struggle so much with it. I can't nail that proposition on YouTube yet. And I know I need to do it, and I've tried it, and I have changed I've done a few things based on largely what you've said and have taught on your channels, and what other people have taught me. So a couple strategic things that I've done, and maybe it's just because I'm so in the weeds of my own business, it's hard for me to determine. But I have now started addressing my viewers as Team Flynn. And I've already started to see the community start to step up, even use that hashtag, and feel like more they're a part of something. So no matter what video comes out, I always end with, Team Flynn, you're amazing. Team Flynn for the win. Or I start videos with, hey, Team Flynn, Pat here, so that people can feel like they're a part of something. And that was very strategic. Again, I don't know if that's the right thing or not, but I like what I'm seeing from that. And the other part of that is I have a tagline now that I didn't have before, which is make more money, save more time, and help more people. And so I can, like you said, have a little bit more freedom in my videos that I can create with that particular tagline. But I think it's just the surface. I think I could go a little bit deeper. And I know that there are some things that I could touch on. For example, making business fun. Like, that's something that I try to do in every video. And I think that a certain kind of person would want to follow me for making sure there is fun in every video, something related to perhaps even family and lifestyle in that direction, to sort of distinct me from a lot of the other people who are maybe more, younger and travel and have Lamborghinis and stuff, which is really, honestly, the primary reason why I'm on YouTube specifically is not just to help more people, but there are some people out there teaching business who I'm just like, no, don't, like, why are you teaching? Like, you're getting people's hopes up, and then you're going to ask them to pay for things. It's just like, but those videos, even though I try to create videos that are better, they're far outranking. They're getting millions of views, and it just is very deflating because I haven't, quote, cracked the code yet. And I know I'm maybe just, again, impatient or whatever, but I think a large amount of it is like everything you're talking about here. It's the brand. It's what people can expect when they watch the videos. And so hopefully sharing all this with all of you listening can help you feel maybe a little bit better about the fact that maybe you don't have it all figured out, or maybe you have more figured out than I do at this point. Any comments or thoughts on that, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, so all of that is really good. I think that there's, like the Pat Flynn, Team Flynn thing. That's good. That's in primal branding. That's
basically,
that's
I just need to hire
words.
you. I just need to hire you.
Well, just read the book. It'll be cheaper.
I will. Honestly, I've already, as you were speaking earlier, ordered it on Audible so I can listen to it.
There you go. Cool. Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored. Just, really good resource that I highly recommend.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. But the sacred word, that's like identifies the community. So like my wife and I have been debt free for over 10 years. We're big Dave Ramsey fans. And so his brand does a lot of the same stuff. Very educational, like teaching people how to manage their finances and money and things like that. But like the personal brand, like you feel like you have a connection to Dave and you kind of don't even really care what he's going to talk about because you just know it's going to be good on some level. And so he does. I look to him as a good example for a lot of this type of stuff too. But he has so many sacred words, like you mentioned, built
I'm
in here.
debt free,
Oh yeah, and that's actually considered a ritual, which is like the repeated interactions people grow to love and expect with your brand.
Oh.
So it was another primal thing. And if you look at like Dude Perfect, for example, that's like my favorite YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They do like all of these so seamlessly. You don't even notice. But anyway, yeah. So you're on the right track. The thing maybe in terms of what I've heard so far, just two things real quick. One would be to really drive home that creed that you said. What was it? It was make more money,
save more time, help more people.
Save more time, help more people. Yeah, just really drive that home as much as you can. Like as much as you hear me say, reach people, change their lives. Like it becomes almost like the thing that your audience like revolves around. It's like, oh yeah, Pat Flynn. They immediately associate it with that, and so. Making every piece of content really drive that home consistently would be one thing. The second thing is one of the things we've been doing a lot more with our clients over the past 2 years or so. Like a YouTube landscape has been changing, and it used to be back in 2006 when I got started. Like, could you just figure out how to get video footage off of a ribbon on a camera and onto your computer? Like, and did you have a fast enough internet connection to upload it? That was like the barrier of entry. And then going through all these other phases, and then like we're coming out of the phase, I believe, where it's like quantity over quality. I think we're thankfully on the back end of that, and it's shifting more towards quality. But by terms of quality, I mean it's actually like, can you tell us like a meaningful story like that impacts someone? And this applies to educational and entertainment channels, by the way. So I did a few experiments, even on my own channel. Actually, at Social Media Marketing World last year, I did 9 interviews with people. And I did 2 videos with each of them. The first one was like, give me the quick bullet point tips for how to do something on YouTube. Second video I did with them was tell me the story of how you discovered this and how you did this on your channel. And so in your YouTube analytics, you can do things called groups. And I grouped the 2 different videos, and you can like one was story and one was the listicle, basically. Mm-hmm. And I put the 2 groups and compared them side by side. And what I learned was hands down, the story videos got at least quadruple the views, twice the engagement, twice the watch time than the quick, shorter, punchier, like, let me just give you the hard, dirty facts about, this how to do this thing and we're done. And so stories, like, unless I actually told the story poorly, then in that case, it actually worked. It performed even worse. But if you tell the story half decently, it performs a lot better. And so that's like one of the keys behind these channels that we've been working with have been growing really fast. I'll give it to you here real quick, but we have our clients work through 7 different questions when it comes to their story. We say, before you start shooting this next video, answer these 7 questions for your content and then go ahead and shoot it. So the 7 questions are 1, who is the character? 2, what do they want? 3, why can't they have what they want? 4, what is at stake, or what's it going to cost them if they don't get what they want? Number 5, who or what comes along to help them do what they couldn't do before? Number 6, how do they ultimately get what they wanted? And then number 7, this is the whole point of the story, is how are they changed as a result? The stories that people really love are actually about character transformation. Like, this person is different at the end of the story than they were at the beginning of the story. And we can see how the conflict over time actually changes them into this different version of themselves that they are today. That's the difference in making like a story people just like, are interested in, and a story people love is how that character change. So maybe thinking through those 7 and like, how do I integrate that type of story and wrap my content, even educational content, around that? that can make a really big difference in terms of watch time, in terms of retention, in terms of people coming back and watching more videos and session time and a whole bunch of things. It just does. I mean, it's not mind blowing to like hear that, oh, stories make a difference, but telling a good story and having a structure to do it, maybe that helps like actually craft it so that the videos intentionally accomplish what you want them to accomplish.
No, I love it. It's what I teach in my podcasting course, to try and pull out the stories from the people you're interviewing and to tell your own story. And it's funny because in YouTube land, and the way that I started on YouTube was just, people have a question, I'm going to film a video to answer it. And that performed pretty well, but I'm not, I want it to be more than just a repository to answer questions. So I love that. It reminds me of the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's monomyth. And it's like you said, it's not like, oh, mind-blowing information, but we don't do it. And I think we just need to spend a little bit more time and care. And, I've worked so hard on some of these videos. I know some of my listeners have worked so hard on some of their videos, and to just get like 100 views on something is pretty deflating. And I think it's everything. It's the start of that journey. In your questions, the character, can that be anybody? Can that be the person who owns the channel and maybe it's featuring somebody else? Can it be just a story about somebody else that they don't even have contact with?
Yeah, I've tried a few different ways. I found it's easiest to do this if you're the character, and so you're telling your story. But we know behind the scenes that we're ultimately not telling our story. We're telling our audience's story, but we're telling their story because it's also our story. And so we're telling it in a way that when they hear it, they think, oh, yes, me too. Oh, me too. Me too. Like they're identifying with us as the character. That's typically the easiest way to do it. I've done it. Like this creator's story series I have coming up. I've tried making the viewer the character and making them the hero. And it's just really difficult to do well. And I actually don't think it worked that well. So I usually just default to I'm the character, they're watching, like, what do they want? So if it's an educational video, it's like, oh, the character, me, I remember when I wanted to make a better podcast, and I remember when I make that episode and only get 2 views. So now we know what you wanted. You wanted not views, downloads. And so now we know what you wanted, and you wanted more downloads, but why couldn't you have it? What would be at stake if you didn't get more downloads? What's it going to cost you? Yeah. And then who comes along and helped you? Pat Flynn. So you're not positioning yourself as like in one way you're the hero, but you're also then become the guide for the person who's watching or listening, because they want to be the hero of their own story, and you then become the guide. So it kind of becomes multi-layered in one regard, but but you get the idea. You just kind of follow that through your content. And so when I open up my YouTube videos, rather than opening up with like a hook that connects, a hook that repeats the title and thumbnail they just connected, like that, they just clicked on, that's a sure way to have a really steep drop in audience retention, like of abandonment right at the beginning of that video, as opposed to like a video I did last week, if I can remember off the top of my head, but it was something about how to earn $1,000 on, or how many subscribers do you need to earn $1,000? That's what it was. And so I opened it up actually with a story and several stories real quick. I just kind of crammed them all in there into about 20 seconds. I told 3 stories real quick, and that video is doing better than my videos normally do. And I think in large part because I took my own advice and opened it up with a few stories, then did a quick welcome and intro, and got right into more stories that were actual stories about people who have a few thousand subscribers making $2 million a year on YouTube. Or in my case, I told my story briefly. I had 3,000 subscribers. It was generating around $10,000 a month, not through ad revenue. It was all through, selling my value proposition in other ways. But telling those stories, people are like, oh yeah, me too. I want that. I'm the character. I can't have that. How do I get that? So telling both your audience and your story kind of simultaneously.
I love that. Thank you for that. And before we wrap up here, one final question for you, Tim. Let me just prime this by asking you, how many kids do you have?
My wife and I had 7 kids in 8 years.
So that's a lot of little ones running around.
Did you hear some of them earlier? Sorry.
No.
Okay, good.
I'm just very curious because even with just 2 kids on my end, it can be very difficult to find the time to do what I need and want to do for my business. And so I'm curious to know how you stay on top of your work and stay present as a father and a husband.
Ooh, it's like a whole new episode right there. So yeah, none of it's easy. I would maybe to kind of summarize it is like, I found that, well, let me first say that we didn't set out to have 7 kids. It just kind of happened. You guys know how that works. So we just ended up with 7, and we're very thankful for it. And we tried different ways of controlling that, and none of them worked. We still got pregnant anyway. So we're thankful for it. But what I've learned is actually, like, I know a lot of people are like 1, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, a big family. How do you do it with 7? And it's the same thing, I think, the same principle about how do you grow a larger business, which is when you're a small business, it's it's easy for you to kind of have all the systems and processes and everything in your head and you just do it. But as you grow, you really need to get those SOPs, those standard operating procedures, written down step by step, have like a employee handbook and all that kind of stuff. And so I found like the way a business grows larger is like you actually just need better systems, because as your business grows, your systems break down. And the same thing's been true with a family. It's like when you get to 2 kids, you can kind of like keep the same systems you're used to having. When you get to 3, you kind of got to switch from one-on-one to zone defense, and a lot of those systems break down. Yeah. You get 4, and especially when you get to 7, like anything over 4, actually. I think you have 4+ kids, like the system, you're forced to work through some of those systems. And I think so if you were going to take your systems that you use with 2 kids and apply it to 7, it would totally it would break. And that's why people are like, I can't have more kids because I can't handle the 2 I have. It's like, well, you just need to work through some of this stuff. But if you had more, you would be forced to figure it out, and you would.
Right.
So in terms of time management, part of it is when I first started this, we had much fewer kids, and I gave it more time back then. I don't work full time. I haven't worked full time for a few years now, just to be totally honest. I don't know if I should say that out loud or not, but I track my time, and I work typically around 25 to 30 hours a week. And part of that is due now because of all the systems we put in place. And now I have a team of 10 people who work for me and who can implement those systems by serving our clients and working with them. And so I spend each of my mornings homeschooling our kids. And then I start work around 11. And depending on the day, some days I'll quit around dinner time, around 5. Other days I'll quit at 5 and then come back in the evening if my wife goes out grocery shopping or something like that. But I've always kind of believed that I'm not building a business for the sake of building a big business. I know it's kind of easy to get trapped and hung up in the goal of my business is grow it to be as big as possible and as successful as possible. But I read a really good book called Built to Sell. Have you read that one?
Yeah.
Any chance?
Yeah.
And so he told a story in there where he's like, just take the amount of money, and I'm changing the story, but I got the inspiration from the book, which is write down the amount of money you'd be willing to sell your business for, seal an envelope, put it someplace, and then when you get an offer to sell, take it out, and if you're at that amount, just sell. Don't feel like you gotta and I kind of took that for me, and it was like, what's the amount of money that our family would need to earn in order for our family to be sustainable and for us not to feel stressed and for us to achieve the goals that we have. And we're at that number. We're actually past that number. And I don't feel like I have a mission to grow the business to become this bigger multi-million-dollar enterprise. I keep working on it. I don't want it to decline. I want to, manage well what I have and continue to grow it, but not at the expense of my family. So for me, it's the family comes first. Mm-hmm. And my wife was pregnant with some kids, I backed off 10 to 15 hours a week, and revenue went down. It did, but that was okay. My family comes first. So I just try to rather than think about balance, I think of more in terms of priorities. And at some point at different seasons of life, that red line kind of moves and up and down. And there's some times with like anything below the red line just doesn't happen, and that's just the way it is, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you for sharing that, Tim. No, that's really helpful to know, and I think a very important message that people need to hear sometimes as we get sort of lost in the growth and scale of our business and all the fun that includes. You know, you can always build new businesses, you can always make more money later, but family stuff, and especially with kids, I mean, they're only young once, and so I'm 100% with you there, Tim.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom with us and the inspiration, and especially a lot of the stuff that you shared in particular about my channel. And I'll definitely be reaching back out to you to get some additional consultation as well as we continue to grow the channel and redefine and sort of hone in on what the messaging is exactly. Where should people go to find out more info and get all the good things that you have to offer?
Yeah, we got multiple videos every week at youtube.com/video creators. You can learn more about growing your YouTube audience, as well as a weekly podcast of my own. You can just search iTunes for Video Creators, Tim Schmoyer, and it should pop up right there.
Cool. Yeah, go listen to it now. And Tim, thanks so much for your time today, and all the best.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Tim Schmoyer. Again, you can find him on YouTube at Video Creators. And download his podcast. You can get some great YouTube and video creation content on the go for you as well. So that's also Video Creators on Apple or wherever you're listening to podcasts. And again, Tim, thank you so much for the inspiration. And just I'm so inspired to continue to grow my YouTube channel and fine-tune exactly why I'm there and what I could do to help more people. And like you said, make a bigger impact, which is why everybody who's listening to the show is listening. And so I appreciate you coming on and helping to share that mission with me. And for everybody who wants to get the show notes and everything else Tim has mentioned and is going on, all you have to do is go to the show notes page at smartpassiveincome.com/session368. Once again, smartpassiveincome.com/session368. Hey, really quick, I have a quick story to tell you, and some of you may have heard this story before, but it relates to a $15,000 mistake that I once made back in 2010. You see, what happened was a couple of my friends who were developers created WordPress plugins, premium WordPress plugins that they then sold. And when they sold them and they launched them sort of around the same time, they weren't related to each other. They each made over six figures in their launch. And so what I saw was dollar signs coming out of my eyes, which was the first mistake in this whole process. If you're just chasing the money, that's always going to be sort of a doomed situation. You want to help people. But I got so attracted to the possibility that I could also sell a premium WordPress plugin that I immediately found a developer online. I paid this person, and what was supposed to take 6 weeks and about $5,000 to $6,000 that I had in my budget, it took 6 months and $15,000, over $15,000. And by the end of this whole process, I then shared this plugin with a few people who said, this isn't done in the way I would do it, and there's probably things I could do it a lot better. Now, first of all, this is really the origin story of my book, Will It Fly, which is the whole idea that, you want to talk to people first about your ideas. You don't want to jump into things. You want to know why you're doing this, and you want to help solve people's problems, not just chase dollars. And hopefully, if you've been following me for a while, you know that you shouldn't be doing that either. Now, the other part of the story that I haven't really told anybody was what exactly this plugin idea was. And I'm just going to tell you, it was a forms plugin. It was a plugin to create forms on your website because that was such an underutilized and sort of ancient thing for people way back in 2010. And, I'm quite glad that didn't work out. First of all, it was a $15,000 lesson, but there have been so many options available now for easily creating forms on your website. None better than WP Forms. WP Forms is run by a guy named Saeed, who also runs WP Beginner, which is an amazing WordPress-related site. And this plugin, WP Forms, has been used by over 2 million people. And when you check it out and you see it, actually, you can check it out at wpforms.com/SPI. They are a sponsor for this episode, but I thought it would be perfect to tell this story because I've never told anybody what my plugin idea was. And again, so glad I didn't do it because WP Forms doesn't has it right. It's a drag and drop WordPress form builder. It's a plugin that you can download. You can actually download the light version for free right now. And special for just SPI users, you can get it at 50% off if you do want to upgrade to premium. But again, you can check it out right now at wpforms.com/SPI. And what it allows you to do is drag and drop build forms on your website. So you can collect information from your audience. You can connect it to your email service provider. You can collect payments even with this thing. It's 100% mobile responsive. It has over 150 templates, and you can manage your leads from there as well. And it has the best spam blockers. There's so much technology that makes it happen behind the scenes and make it so easy for you to use. And Saeed is a good friend of mine. He and I have been buds for years, and he is one of the smartest guys I know. He's even involved in like cricket, which is a sport for those of you who don't know, not like cricket the bugs. Although I wouldn't be surprised because he does so many amazing things. And WP Forms, I highly recommend you check it out. So if you want to check it out right now and get the 50% off the WP Forms Pro, or you could even try the light version for free right now, download it, install it. It is super customizable, but also they have great service and people who can help you, but you won't need the help because it's so easy to use. You don't even need to know how to code or anything like that. And when you want to place these forms that you build in your sidebar or widgets or in your blog post, it's so easy to use. You'll get it in literally just a minute. So go ahead and check it out, wpforms.com/SPI, and you're not going to be disappointed. And please, if you've got any value out of the show, do me a favor and just hit subscribe. That way you can get more value coming your way because you know that this stuff is helpful for you. And most of all, just make sure you take action. That's all I ask of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Team Flynn, you are amazing. And if you're brand new to the show, thank you for subscribing. And welcome to Team Flynn. We're all here to support each other, so I'm just thankful you're here. Cheers, take care, and Team Flynn for the win.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? Record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART.